Hello and welcome. It is great to see you. We're glad you're here. If you'd like, please do join us in the chat. There's a lively chat happening, so we love to include you there if you like to chat. If not, no pressure. It's just such a fun way to connect. So very excited. Some of you are channeling your inner Jamie, which we're loving. It's great to have you here. It is 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Daylight Time. It's New York City time. It's time to get started. It is 7 o'clock and we are going to get this program going. Welcome in. This is our Declutter Club through the fantastic Chelmsford Library, where we meet once a month. And I do have some exciting news for you about 2027, which we'll share in just a little while. Today's topic is all about thrifty and tidy. And we'll look at 10 different categories that we could maybe find some areas to get just a little more organized and maybe save some money, save some stress, be a little more organized, declutter possibly, all the things. So welcome into Thrifty and Tidy, and we're going to look at 10 different categories in our time together. So very excited to have you here. All right, well, the chat is still going strong, so jump in there if you'd like to. Again, totally optional, but you're always welcome to. So we would love to have you say hello. And of course, if you notice that someone says they're here for the first time, we always like to give a warm welcome. So if you are here for the very first time, please let us know and we can make sure to tell you, answer any questions and all the things. And if you've been here like month after month, then you kind of know how this goes. But just to answer a few frequently asked questions, for 2026, we are meeting the second Thursday of every month. Please come when you can. Every topic is different. And of course, a few have mentioned that you're kind of working on your own thing, but you come regardless of the topic because you work alongside us. So that's always fun. Okay. So we are working together month after month. And of course, these are recorded and then they are available on the library's YouTube channel for 1 month. So they'll be available for 1 month. And then it is a webinar. So I can't see or hear you. Hopefully you can see and hear me. But I hope that it's all going to work well. The technology is working well. So if you have like your hand raised, unfortunately, we can't see or hear you in a webinar format, but the chat is open. And if you do have any questions after the program, I'll give you all my information, or you could reach out to the library and they'll forward your question on to me. So hopefully that answers some of the more frequently asked questions. And we're just so excited to have everyone coming in together. We're going to get started with our content. And thank you so much for welcoming in all the first timers. And hopefully it won't be your last time. So yay. Okay. All right. Are we ready to get this started? Okay, I think it is time to begin. We've got an active group. Everyone's here, a regular. We love that. Hello again. It's great to see everyone. I hope that I caught your name in the chat. If I missed you, it was not intentional, but we have, hundreds of people that join us, and so I can always welcome in the first few. So if you were here, welcome. And if you're still tuning in, we're just glad you're here. Let's get into all of the great content. And if we are meeting for the first time, this is just a little bit about me. You can see more details at jamienovak.com. If you're here for the first time, like Margot, please do come back. We'd love to have you join us month after month. And if you've read or own my newest book, we'd love to hear like if there's a favorite thing about it. So pop that in the chat if you have a favorite thing that you've read in the book so far. And along our time together tonight, although I will hopefully have some ideas for you, if you have an idea for saving money, getting more organized, we always love to share here. This really is just such a warm and welcoming community, and thank you for making it that way. So pop your ideas in the chat too. It's not just about me, but it really is for all of us together. So yay. All right. Oh, I love how the book is set up as well. Joanne's saying like it's sort of like a reference. So there we go. And yes, we come back together like on Thursdays for that motivation, that bit of inspiration. And so you'll notice that we are together tonight. We'll be together September 10th, then October 8th, and then breaking news down at the bottom of the screen. I am thrilled to announce that the library has invited us back for 2027, and we will be going back to the first Thursday of the month for 2027. The first Thursday of the month for 2027. So that's what we did last year. So we'll go back to it. This year has been the second Thursday. So second Thursday of the month for 2026, then the first Thursday of the month starting in 2027. And we'll have all new topics and great ideas for you. So let's look at some of the costs of clutter. I don't know that all of this applies. You may have some other costs of clutter. Of course, stress comes to mind. So that's, an important one as well. But disorganization can result in like 23% of adults paying their bills late or incurring late fees. So that comes from a survey that was done through like the banking industry. Buying or rebuying lost or broken or expired items, not using something before it went bad, things like that. Buying storage solutions, renting a storage unit, even having a larger home or apartment than you might like, but because we've got to store a bunch of stuff. Late fees, for sure. And then keeping things that we would have either donated or sold. So that means that the item can't be used, but then it also means maybe you would have made some money, and then depending on your taxes, which I don't even play a tax person on Zoom with you, but I could see that possibly there might be a tax benefit. So for all of those reasons, and probably other ones that you're thinking of on your own, the more that we can like declutter and get organized, hopefully the less stressful, and the more money we'll have. So that's really what we're looking for tonight. So what are we going to cover? We're going to look at like 10 easy areas where you might make some switches. We will always love to have a live moment or multiple live moments. Tonight we'll have just one. And of course, we'll wrap up with a Q&A in the chat should you like to ask anything. And that will be available for you as well. So a quick reminder, this is a webinar, so we can't see or hear you, but the chat is open. So some of us might hit the jackpot during our time together tonight. You might find loose change, spare coins, cash, checks, or gift cards even. And so we'll see if anyone sort of hits the jackpot during our time together tonight, which can certainly happen. So yeah, some of you are saying like getting rid of a storage unit. Yeah, Barbara, right? It saves money, right? And then also maybe we don't feel like, oh my gosh, there's stuff I'm not using, and it's just all around probably a really good idea. So we're thrilled for this topic. Just a gentle reminder that I'm not expecting you to do everything we're going to talk about tonight. I never have an expectation that you're going to take like everything we talk about on any one of these Thursdays and like employ it all. I think that that actually probably makes it more stressful. But my hope is that you'll hear like one or two things tonight and go, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to try that. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. And those are the things that you might like to give a try. But I don't think that we definitely want to try to like do everything. So that will probably just stress us out even more, which is not great. So we definitely do not want to do that for sure. Okay. So let's take a look at making your top 10 list. So I'm saying a top 10 list. You might feel differently, but I mean, you might just want one or two things. You also might want, more than that. I think once you get over like 10, it gets overwhelming. And so I would say probably make like a top 10, a top 5 list, a top 3 list, something that feels manageable where you go, oh, that would integrate beautifully into my life, my schedule, my routine. This is going to work well. I'm going to try this. Oh, I didn't know that. But again, not everything, because that would be a full-time job to try all the things we're going to talk about tonight. And where are we keeping this? Because sometimes when you hear like a really good idea, whether it's from a presentation like this or just someone mentioning something in conversation, something you hear or read, and you're like, oh, that's great. And then when I can't find it again, when I need it, it's very frustrating. So I think that if you are more tech-based and you use your phone for a lot of things, you might just open up a notes app and make a note on your phone or make multiple notes about different categories of things that you might like to try and different ideas and such. And if you're more of a paper-based, that's probably more how my mind works, then maybe something like a 3-ring binder. And you could even do something like A to Z tabs, and one tab could just be about money or ideas or decluttering, or you could break out these different ideas into different tabs. And then you'll probably add other things into the notebook or add more notes when someone mentions, like, oh, you should watch this show, or oh, this is a great book idea. Because where do we capture all of those little bits of information? And if you just maybe take some notes tonight on a piece of paper and then the paper lands in the paper pile, then the notes are pretty much as good as gone. So some way of being able to recall not only notes from tonight, but then also, just life notes and things that come up. So it might be an app on your phone, it might be an actual paper, or whatever way you could find of recalling things. So we begin with number 1 on our list, and this one's going to be about meals. Meals. So whether you tend to cook larger meals, cook for yourself, cook extra and freeze, go out more, take out, eating out, whatever that looks like for you, I think there might be 1 or 2 ideas here on the screen. So let's take a look at straighten before shopping. Straighten before shopping. So this is something that I did with my mom growing up. I was the oldest of 4 daughters, and so I got to like help out with a lot of the different household chore kind of things. And one of the things was grocery shopping, which I actually really liked to do because I can remember she would put me like in the top part of the grocery cart. And then when we went down like the cookies and crackers aisle, I would get one of those little boxes with like the animal crackers. And it had like the string because then it was like a little purse. And I could eat them while we finished grocery shopping. And then we just paid for the empty box. So I really did like going grocery shopping, and I wasn't supposed to tell my sister. So if any of my sisters are here tonight, pretend you didn't hear that. But that is sort of what's happening here. So Anna's got a challenge in the chat, and stay tuned because we're going to have a solution for that. And I can mention it here on this slide as well, especially if you feel like those bigger box stores where you get quantity, the cost per actual item in the grouping is less because you've purchased more, so you get that bulk pricing. But then, do we need like 12 toothpaste tubes or whatever it is? And so I'll mention it here, and it's on another slide in coming up. But like my sisters, I'll shop and then we divide it. So if you know of a neighbor, a friend, a coworker, a family member, or someone else that like would buy similar things, then we just divide it because I also don't have room to store in bulk like that. So we would straighten before we went shopping. So we would go to the pantry, and my mom and I would make a grocery shopping list. And we would like tweak the pantry, neaten it up, make it look, face things out, check expiration dates, see what was missing. So the pantry was labeled with like, canned vegetables and pastas or whatever the different categories are for you. And then we would know what was missing or what was running low. We would make our shopping list. Ingredients that we had a lot of, she would try to think of a recipe to use up those ingredients. We would also straighten the refrigerator. That's when leftovers that were beyond their best by date had to leave. Straighten the freezer, and then we had room to put the groceries away when we came home, and we sort of knew what we needed, and she would make her meals for the week. And she would theme her meals. So the way she would do that is like Monday is going to be something with like if maybe chicken's in your diet as an example. So Monday is going to be a chicken dish. Not sure how the chicken will be prepared, but it's going to be chicken. And then maybe Tuesdays pasta, and then Wednesdays, some other item. And that way you're sort of narrowing down the focus, and oh, well, if I cook extra of this, then I can use leftovers in this tomorrow, kind of a thing. So she would try to theme the meals, and then we would do a menu board, a menu board. And that way, the interesting thing about that was, let's say she bought something that wasn't normally in stock. and maybe it was like berries, or there was maybe a watermelon that she had cubed up or something. She would just write that on a dry erase board that stuck to the side of the refrigerator. So all of us would remember to use those things up that maybe we wouldn't normally know she had, or, oh, there's, extra cut peppers. And then we're also not standing in front of the refrigerator with the refrigerator open, trying to see, what there was maybe as a snack. And then she designated one section of the refrigerator just for leftovers. So it was like a leftover shelf. She would portion them into like single servings, unless it was something we would reheat for everyone. But they were mostly in single portions. So you could just grab one amount of it and not have to keep covering and uncovering and covering. And that allowed her to have all of her food storage containers in the same size. Because if everything's being portioned into individual portions, then you can just do like all sort of like smaller containers. And then label and date everything using a permanent marker when we come in, write directly on the canned goods, on the box goods, because it's really hard sometimes to find those expiration dates. Now, Recipe Land is a website that you can use for free, and you can actually just say the ingredients that you have, and it will help you make a recipe around those. So if you had like leftover asparagus and, chicken or something, it would help you focus in on something that you could use up that you already have. And then Still Tasty is a website that's also free to use. And that's where you can just ask it, like, how long is this good for? And based on how you've had it stored, you'd have that. So I love that so many of you are sharing your tips with us in the chat. And yeah, standing too long in the refrigerator, right? You're like, shut the refrigerator. Oh, now the refrigerator dings to let you know, like, it's open too long. Now, with do-it-yourself TV dinner, because I used to love a TV dinner. So again, getting to go grocery shopping, I got to pick out my own TV dinner, and I always got the one that had the brownie with it. Like, remember, like the brownie, and then the brownie would cook, but not always all the way. So if you did a TV dinner, or you remember a TV dinner, let us know. Was it like a Salisbury steak? What did you like? Let us know. Do you have a favorite TV dinner, or sort of like a reminiscent of years gone by TV dinner? So I got the foil divided trays. So when we're having like a large meal or after a holiday, I can put the protein and the sides and all the thing and then cover it, and it becomes its own TV dinner. Now, if you use the microwave, you could do plastic. I mostly use the oven, so I've got foil, but they make those divided trays, and then you can make your own like TV dinner from leftovers. Of course, label it, because you'll never remember what's in there, or at least I certainly don't. And then if we're eating out, what we often try to remember to do is to share an appetizer and then share a dinner, because typically the dinners are gigantic portions anyway. And if we're going out after and we can't take leftovers home, then ordering the app and the dinner, but then we just let the waiter or waitress know we'll be tipping on two dinners, because it's often a less expensive bill, but I don't want to short them on their service. So I just say, like, we're just going to do an app and a dinner and share it, but we'll be tipping on two dinners. So there you go. Oh yeah, the chicken dinner, was it the fried chicken dinner? Some of you are sharing your dinner ideas. Oh, covered in foil. Oh yeah. And that was the kind of foil that you had to be so careful, because it's like the catering trays, and that you have to be so careful opening them. Now, this is a non-scientific estimate in my home, before we sort of implemented some of these things, and then asking friends and family. And we sort of guesstimated, again, not scientific, about $1,600 in food wasted a year. And then sort of going, yeah, you know what, we can stop some of that. So it's surprising, right? You're like, oh, I've got herbs, and I, didn't finish them up, but they were $4 in herbs. And then all of a sudden, yeah, the $1,600 feels like we could get there pretty quick. And of course, we want to try to not do that. So, oh gosh, I love the chat. Thanks, everyone. This is such a fun community. And here are some things that freeze really well. And you may have some other things that freeze well, but an example of the herbs, like I'll put it with a little wine or red sauce or olive oil, and then freeze it in cubes and then label it so I know what it is. But it allows me to the end of the herbs that might not get finished up before they become like fuzzy science experiments. Flour also can go in the freezer. I do grated ginger, grated garlic, even like fresh doughs. So I do make like a cookie dough, then I put it in an ice cube tray, then I pop them out, and then you've got like a single serve cookie that you could make like in a toaster oven. This is a lot of food talk. Is anyone else getting really hungry? So many of you are sharing your TV dinners, and now we're all like, oh, that sounds delicious. Nuts and seeds, and even mashed avocados and butter and bananas. all sorts of things do tend to freeze. Well, you can just, ask your device, like, does this freeze? And it's surprising to me how many things freeze and freeze beautifully. But just don't forget to label them or else they become unidentified food objects. So we'll move on to number two, and this is all about rewards for recycling. Rewards for recycling. Now, I'm guessing that you're going to know something that's not on my list. So if you do, please share it with me and the group. We would love to add even more to this slide. But there are so many different companies that offer you either cash back or credit or some sort of a reward for recycling or bringing items back. And so I think um, that you could take a look at this and go, oh my gosh, yes, I do have some Eileen Fisher clothes and they take them back. It doesn't matter what year they are. Origins Makeup and MAC Cosmetics, IKEA takes their furniture back and gives you credit towards the IKEA store. J. Jill stores, ink cartridges can go back to Staples and they give you credit at Staples. DSW gives you points for bringing in shoes to recycle. I'm sorry, to donate. I should clarify, to donate through DSW. If you donate shoes, they give them to Souls for Souls, but they give you points on the loyalty card. So there's so many different companies that offer this, like, but we have to remember. So first you have to save the product, then you have to get it to the right place. So for me, this often means having some sort of a container that's labeled so I know where to put the stuff, and then having a date on the calendar of when I'm going to be dropping it off. Because of course, these are mostly companies and you have to bring the items to them. No one's coming to pick this stuff up. So they certainly want to make sure. Yeah, North Face, Patagonia, absolutely. Oh, coats due for replacement. Well, that'll be great then. So, and Scrub Daddy takes back their Scrub Daddy sponges for foam to fuel. Even Adidas takes back their Adidas shoes for, they take the rest of like the rubber of the shoe and make basketball courts out of them. So it's just worth either asking at the cash register or calling the corporate offices, calling the 800 number customer service and just saying, like, I'm a loyal customer of this brand. And do you have any sorts of rewards or recycling or anything like that? And it could be very, very surprising. So another very unscientific poll as we move into number three on our list, and that is $720 in unworn clothing is the average in the closet today. That includes shoes. Of course, it depends like how many things you have and also the brands and where you shop. But yeah, that's a lot of stuff that we might not be wearing that we probably paid good money for. So my sister dyes a lot of her clothing. She doesn't do it in her own washing machine because that could be a problem if you don't, wash cycles in between. But in a pail, she does her dyeing of her pieces. So I remember she bought a dress in like a creamy color and she wore it to an event. Then she dyed it to a green. Then she dyed it to a black. And she got like three completely different uses out of the dress. It looks like three completely different dresses. And she was able to do that. So yeah, I think that might be one thing to consider. But also, if you are somewhat crafty, getting out the sewing kit, repairing our own clothing, darning socks, right? Might be something we haven't done in a while. Transform jeans into shorts. Don't overstuff the closet when clothes are sort of like not able to breathe and they're really packed in tight. They can get damaged on the hanger. They don't tend to do really well like that. Wash clothes inside out, typically wash clothes inside out. Of course, always follow the manufacturer's directions for washing the clothes, but a lot of them do say to wash it inside out, and I don't actually read the tag until I realize this. So, and it's just because when they rub up against one another through the laundering cycle, they'll get like the little pills on them, or, they can, like one zipper will catch on something else and they could be damaged. And then they make these balls. They look like tennis balls, but they're actually wool. And I'm very sensitive to wool and I haven't had a problem with these, but they absorb the extra moisture in the dryer so that your clothes don't have to be in the dryer as long, which saves money on the drying cycle, but also helps the clothes have a longer lifespan because washing and drying can really, take the life out of them. So they're wool balls because the wool absorbs the extra moisture. Some people also just put like a dry towel, like a dry terry cloth towel that also could act similarly to a wool ball. But and also if you don't use like a dryer sheet, there are wool balls that you can put a little like essential oil on, and then it transfers to the clothes in a way that just makes them smell good. If you like that, it's just another way to use them. So there you go. Great questions rolling in. There's a lot of questions coming in about the olive oil, so we will circle back to that in just a moment. I will capture my notes on that for you. Great questions. All right. Well, number 4 on our list is our errand bag. Our errand bag. So I typically run errands on Tuesdays, especially Tuesday nights are less busy. So oftentimes people that didn't run errands over the weekend run them on a Monday, and then at the end of the week getting ready for the weekend. So Tuesdays tend to be a less busy day. And so, but picking one day of the week or one time to run the errands, then during the week, everything that needs to go with me for running errands, so returns or receipts or loyalty cards or things I need to drop off or places that I'm going to be nearby to drop off donations or library books that need to go back to the library. So everything goes in the errand bag, and then the errand bag just goes out with me. Now, although I say I typically run errands on a Tuesday, I do try to just grab the bag on my way out the door because sometimes I find myself near where I could run the errand unexpectedly, just in day-to-day travels. It happened just yesterday when I took our dog Delilah. We went to the park and oh no, I just said park and she woke up. Okay, it'll be fine. It's fine. So we went to that place and luckily I had grabbed the bag on the way out the door because we went to a different one of those places for her than we usually do. And I was like, oh, well, now we're just right around the corner. I could have done it a different day. It would have been fine, but it would have been another trip out to a place that I already was. So it's extra time, extra gas, extra all the things, and also waiting to get the thing done when I could have just been done with it. So I do try to grab the errand bag because I just never know, like, plus then I don't lose the returns that I might need to make with the receipt and all the stuff. And then actually making the return before that window closes. So a lot of times you only have a limited amount of time to return something. And when that closes, they might make an exception, but they might not. And then we kind of lose that money. So we're all just sort of, out that, which isn't great. So one fun errand bag. And then if you can limit it to running it once a week, possibly, but you probably already have whatever that routine is. Now, some of you are mentioning things like dividing it into like the places you go. And I love that. So all whatever's already working for you, just take an idea that might enhance that. We're not trying to just change your whole routine. And all of you have these great ideas. Well, number 5 brings us to our home or apartment, our space, our townhome, our condo, and unplugging electronics and things that you don't use all the time, even like toaster and coffee maker, different things. It does use that phantom energy because it's just plugged in all the time. So if it's convenient enough, just, pull it off the wall and unplug electronics. Something as simple as like a small drip in a faucet that's just like one little drop of water consistently every so often. Of course, a waste of water over time, but then it can damage more things. So you're like, oh, but it's just one little drip. But then one little drip starts eating away, maybe at the bottom of the shower. And then we've got to replace the shower or refinish the shower. And of course, if it's like one little drip under the kitchen sink or bathroom vanity, and then we don't catch it quick enough, then it starts to maybe eat the wood of the vanity. And then if you don't catch it, it makes a hole down to the floor. And then if we don't catch it, then the floor starts to warp. And all of a sudden, what was like one tiny little drop, especially water, which can just be so damaging. And don't forget to check for repair cafes. A lot of different libraries offer repair cafes. Different communities offer repair cafes. And this is where someone that is talented in repairing something and has a skill volunteers their time to either show you how to do it or do it with you or do it for you. Things like rewiring a lamp or, sewing up clothing, putting a button on something, repairing just bicycles and all sorts of things. So repair cafes, they're all across the country. A easy way to usually find it is just to go online and type in something like repair cafe, and then your town or your zip code or your community. You could do your county, and then I would put like 2026 because you might, and without the year, you might end up with repair cafe information from a different year. which might not be as helpful. And then if you miss or don't have like e-waste, or you'd have to pay for e-waste, which is like keyboards and computers and things to be discarded, and maybe you missed it in your town or your town doesn't offer it for free, Staples and Best Buy allows you to bring in 7 items per person per day for electronic recycling. And that includes things like a coffee brewer and a paper shredder. So if you're like, what do I, do with all those things? And then a little seasonal inventory. Just remind yourself of what we own. I just found something the other day that I had no idea we owned. It was a cafeteria tray, like just that big, like over plastic tray. I don't know where it came from. I guess someone bought it. I don't remember at all, but it was in the way back of the cabinet. And I've actually put it to really good use because I do a lot of crafting, so I could like carry my craft around the house and do the things. But I was like, where did this come from? So a little seasonal inventory of just refreshing your memory about like what's in the cabinet, what's in the way back there, and probably things that we can either use, and then if we're not using it, donate it. So that does sound like just simple decluttering. And in a way it is, but it's like you don't have to decide right then if you're going to keep it or, donate or toss it. But it's the, oh, I didn't remember I had this. Oh, I don't need to buy another one of those. And then there's home stores like a Home Depot, a Lowe's. They have free ways of like cutting tile and cutting wood. So if you were like, oh, I just need this piece of trim cut and you weren't able to do it, this would be a great option. And a lot of them are for free workshops. So you can come and learn how to like put a backsplash on in the kitchen. And if it feels like something you could do, they often also, give you coupons towards the products you would need to do it. So you could learn a new skill totally for free. And if none of that really sounded great, or maybe it sparked another idea for you, I would just also highly encourage this one. So although I said like, pick and choose which ones you like, this is the one that I would say if you weren't sure, I would definitely maybe start here. And this is just keeping a running list of the things in your home that are under warranty, under warranty. So this might look like, going room to room and seeing what you have, looking through your instruction booklets and manuals, or just starting the list now from when you get new things, when they're under warranty. So like we just got a new toaster. Our newly adopted dog is very scared of toasters. So I'm trying to find a really quiet one. If anyone knows of a really quiet toaster, she doesn't like the springy noise of like when you push it down and it pops up. Finally figured out that that's what it was. It took us a long time to figure out that's what it was, but I need a very quiet toaster if anyone knows of one. Anyway, so we've tried a couple of different toasters and they all come with a warranty. So I just keep a running list of this is the, what's the item, where I bought it, and like what the warranty is for. Things like vacuum cleaners and electronics and all sorts of things often have a warranty. So, talking about small trips, we have a faucet. We've had it for a lot of years, but it just started to like have a little, like almost like the coating was coming off of it. So I called the company and I said, I'd like to buy this same one. It's starting to like, lose its finish. And they said, oh, that shouldn't happen. How did you clean it? And I said, just kind of buff it with a cloth. And they said, no harsh chemicals. I said, no. They said, well, then it's under warranty for a lifetime. And just send us a picture of it installed and we'll let you pick out a new one. And they overnighted me a faucet. And it was like a $200 faucet. And so that was a big win. I didn't know it was under a lifetime warranty, so that was really helpful. You all are so sweet. Thank you for the great ideas about the toaster. And I didn't know that the Cuisinart was one, and of course, a toaster oven. You all are so smart. Thank you so much. And Delilah thanks you because no one in this house can make toast. So that's lovely. Thank you so much. So that was one thing. Like if I had this on a list, I could have gone to faucet, called here. Because when you get something new, that's the time when you have the make and the model or the serial number and the 800 number. And how great to just write it all on one piece of paper or a note on your phone. And then when you're like, oh, is this under warranty? Sure is. So that was something that possibly if you're like, what's the one thing I should start with? This is probably what I would suggest. And of course, read the manual. So, does anyone actually read the manual? But there are some really good reasons why. And if you're like Jamie, there's no way I can read this manual. The print is like 2-point font. There's no way I can read this manual. It's also not riveting reading, so I'm gonna go fall asleep reading this manual. I understand. Maybe just call the 800 number and get one of the lovely customer service people that are very familiar with the product that you bought and all of the details, because they will be able to say to you, oh, this is what we recommend in terms of cleaning. This is how often you should be changing the filter in the vacuum cleaner. This is how often you should be descaling the coffee brewer, because over time the buildup in the coffee brewer means the coffee doesn't brew, unlike those ones that use pods. And then you're like, oh, I guess I have to buy a new coffee maker. Turns out maybe we just need to descale it so that all of the hard water deposits come out. But if you didn't know about that, a paper shredder often requires us to send through lubricated sheets. And they're just sort of like oily sheets on the inside that like oil and lubricate all the gears inside. And if you didn't know that, you're going to burn out a paper shredder. And then you're like, oh my goodness, this is really expensive to replace like a whole one of these. So this could be another way to maybe just learn like what is the way to maintain this? How do I make sure that it's still under warranty? That I don't do anything that makes it not be under warranty, because if you care for it improperly or you don't follow their directions, then it won't be under warranty. So just something to consider if you don't know how to like maintain the different things. I had no idea about lubrication sheets in a paper shredder for years. I didn't know about what they suggested in terms of like how often the manufacturer. So great reminder that most of the user manuals are online. You can also just ask like, hey, I won't say the names because then the devices in your home will turn on, but you probably have one that you can wake up by saying its name and then ask it a question. Absolutely. So then ask it like, what's the cleaning schedule for this? When should I be replacing this? It's really helpful. A lot of our washing machines actually have a lint trap in the washing machine. We know of it in the dryer, right? Hopefully you're maintaining that on a very regular basis. But many of the washing machines have a little lint trap in the washer, in the drum of the washer. I didn't know that. I didn't know I was supposed to like pick that. When I picked it up, it was jam packed with like the lint it had collected in the washer. Had no idea that was a thing. And how would I find out? But now I remind myself to do that research when I have something new or to check on it. Now, this is about ceiling fans. And if you have a ceiling fan, here is a great way to save some money year round. We want it going counterclockwise in the summer for the downdraft, because hot air rises, so you get that cooling breeze. And then clockwise in the winter, the updraft circulates the warm air down and around the room. So we want the breeze or we want the hot air to circulate. So reversing your ceiling fan. It's usually a little tiny switch, just like a toggle switch, usually on the motor housing of the ceiling fan. And I don't like to be on a stepladder, especially if no one's home. I will not get up on a stepladder, but I have a telescoping duster, and I'm able to capture it and move it up or down. So I just have to mark a calendar or set an alarm or some sort of a reminder to remind myself to reverse the ceiling fan as the seasons change. So it's a real thing, and there's a reason why that switch is on there, which I didn't know for years. So if you also weren't aware, welcome. And if you're like, I've been doing this for years, how did she never know? Listen, I was this many years old when I found out. So let's look at number 6 on our list, and this is all about cleaning. And so I was able to chat with a few professional cleaners who tend to know all the things about cleaning that I probably don't know. And one of the things they said they wished that we all knew was, when you're cleaning, please use less cleaner. Just use less. You'll save yourself in the amount of cleaner you're using, but you'll also save the time and the effort of just cleaning the cleaner. So when you apply too much cleaner, it's not actually more helpful. So that's there you go. And then oftentimes, again, reading the directions. So many cleaners invite you to leave it to sit for a period of time. Not all of them, but either, for the efficacy of it, or so that there's less, work on your part to remove grime and built on grease and things. So read the directions as far as like, how long am I supposed to let this sit? Am I supposed to let it sit? And of course, we should be applying the cleaner to the towel or the sponge, not directly to the product itself, like never spritzing a screen, even a mirror, because then you've got the overspray. So it's actually better to spray the cleaning tool. Reusable towels, you could use like on those mops. So the mops that are the ones that get the disposable towels, they'll put on like a cabin sock, a really fluffy cabin sock, or like a reusable towel, and then you don't have the waste of the disposable piece, which is great. Um, and then cutting sponges in half. Carefully, of course, always carefully, but you'll get double the sponge. And sometimes I remember my grandmother did that. So cutting sponges in half. There you go. Oh, so many of you are sharing things that are happening for you. Great ideas about the newer ceiling fans coming with remotes, and some of them do have a reverse. And again, if we're like, what does this button do? Now we all know. So we love that. Yep. And the real directions not being included with products. So funny you say that because I just put together a table this afternoon. It didn't come with a little Allen key thingy, and it came with one little leaflet. And I'm like, what? How am I supposed to put this table together? And you're thinking, Jamie, it's a table. It's four legs and it had layers and it was a whole thing. But did it. So there you go. Oh, so many. Thank you everyone for keeping the conversation going in the chat. Where do you buy the lubrication sheets to go through the shredder? Office supply stores, Amazon, wherever they like sell a shredder, they probably have them. Lubrication sheets for the shredder. Love it. Oh my gosh, all of you are just having great ideas. Staples, absolutely. So let's take a peek at the calendar now, because at the like start of a new month, the end of a month, I try to look ahead and look back and make a little list or add something to my to-do list, because what happens oftentimes is that I forget. I turn the calendar page and I'm so focused on the month at hand, August, that I will forget, oh, in July, I was supposed to follow up on this, or I was supposed to hear back on this, or, oh, I was supposed to get a credit from this store and I don't know if I got my $18 back. And then I go on to the next month and I might forget about those types of things, which isn't great. So looking back and then looking ahead and making sure that we've captured not only anything to follow up on from the month before, but then what's coming up. For example, we have a milestone birthday for my dad. I've got my niece's second birthday. Um, lots of like things like that happening. I want to make sure I've got the gifts and the bags to put the gifts in, or gift wrap. And then what am I going to wear so that it's not the night before? And I'm like, I have nothing to wear. I might as well just go buy something. But I wouldn't probably have to do that if I could, shop my own closet. But I need time to do that, make sure everything fits and nothing needs to be cleaned and stuff. So there's a lot of different maybe little things that we can catch before it becomes, I totally forgot, or now it's an emergency and I'll just go and buy something else, or buy the gift on the way to the party kind of a thing. So there you go. All right. Oh, in the chat, if you want to send it just to me, it would be to host. And if you want to send it to everyone, it would say everyone. So it's totally up to you. But you would have to change it when you're typing from that little blue thing that says either everyone or host. So totally up to you. It's just if you want everyone to be able to see it or not. I can see them when it goes to either place. The recording will be up on the YouTube page of the library's channels. The library has a YouTube channel, Chelmsford Library, and we can show you that. And that's where they put it up in the next few days, and then it stays up until the next one. So hopefully that's helpful. I love that so many of you have great ideas about how to put things on like an index card, and this is what I do. So yes, I love that we've got like that monthly, this is what I do this month. But like last month I returned something and they didn't credit my account properly. So like that's still in flux. And if I don't move that onto the next calendar, I'll forget. And then looking ahead as well. So fantastic. And here are a couple of more things when it comes to sort of just money. And you'll always make your own decision about all of these, but I wanted to share a few things that I've kind of done. And the first is turn on alerts. turn on alerts. So this is going to probably take a day of doing because you have to make a list or remember all the different accounts you have, bank accounts and investment accounts and credit cards and anything related to like money in that way. And then I contacted customer service or went online for every single one of those accounts and I turned on alerts. And that just simply means that I have told that company, I want you to notify me by email or by text message, you get to pick, when there's activity on this account. So, for example, throughout the day, I'll get like a text message that says, this credit card was just used to purchase gas at this gas station. Fantastic, because I know that someone in the family went to go get gas. But if I knew no one was getting gas and I got that alert, which is what happened a few months ago, we were all home and it said, you're getting gas. And I'm like, oh, no, we're not. And immediately we were able to turn that card off, not have to pay for the gas that was there. It was not flagged as fraud because we go to that gas station. So they wouldn't have flagged it as fraud. You can be notified when there's activity on your account, like a deposit's been made, there's a credit pending. I returned something to Macy's. By the time I got in my car, I had a text message that said, you have a pending credit of like $33 from Macy's. Don't have to think about it. I know it's done. So when a check clears or when a bill is due or when a bill is overdue or when a payment's been made, there's a lot of different alerts that they allow and you can just turn on or off whichever one is most interesting to you. So anything that you'd like to be made aware of. Of course, free trials, subscriptions to things, streaming services. I mark my calendar to cancel them if I'm not going to keep up on them. And I keep a running list of what subscriptions I have and how I pay them because I probably won't remember. And then I'm like, oh, I'm paying for that. And then calling the retention department is an opportunity to go one level above your basic customer service. So let's say you got an offer with a competitor for cable and you pay for cable television right now. And you call and talk to customer service and they're like, well, that's the only offer we have. We don't have a better deal for you. And if you say you're thinking of leaving, but you want to talk to the retention department to retain you as a customer, they have a whole department that has all sorts of specials that no one else can offer you. And that's because they want to keep you as a customer. If you haven't called your auto insurance and asked for a re-rate, it might be something to think about. And it's just calling and saying, I'd like to re-rate my policy. I would confirm that your policy can't go up, but it could only go down. And that's the experience that I've had personally, but of course, always check. And they just ask you a few basic questions, run a re-rate, and our insurance went down by $800. Now, that might be a very unusual circumstance, so I'm not sure those would be, what you would experience, but it certainly might be helpful. And don't forget about price matching, saving the receipt. So I had to go get a special dog food for Delilah the other day. I went in store, their in store and the same company, their online was a totally different price. It was less expensive online, but I needed it that day. And so they matched the price. I pay with coins at self-checkout. So I don't know how. I don't use a lot of cash, but somehow I still have loose change. And so as long as no one's behind me and there's like a lot of different self-checkouts, I'll just feed my coins in there because then it automatically gets wrapped for them anyway. Because what else am I going to do with the coins? I can't wrap them and take them to the bank. My bank doesn't let you do it like that. And use up gift cards. Use up gift cards. That's going to be an important piece to use up gift cards before they have no balance. Thanks again, everyone. So many ideas in the chat. Well, this is our live moment. And when we talk about gift cards and loose change, I'd like to invite you to take just a few minutes with us now. We'll take a 3-minute moment if you're feeling so inspired and maybe go search the kitchen drawer or your wallet or your handbag or your work bag for gift cards to use up or loose change to start collecting. And yep, don't have to roll the coins. And I put $34.76 in change at the store the other day. So there you go. All right. Well, if you're ready for a little moment, we just like to take this moment, invite you to do a little something. If you were inspired by one of these, go look for gift cards, go find loose change, go start a notebook, with your warranties, anything that maybe you've been inspired by, start an errand bag, whatever feels good. We're just going to take a 3-minute moment. If you're not able to move away from the screen and do a physical activity right now, maybe you'll spend 3 minutes deleting some emails or making space on your phone. So whatever you'd like to do. Oh, lesson learned, if the place goes out of business, money's lost. Oh, that's a good reminder. Well, you've inspired us all to go look for those lost gift cards. So we will be back at 53. So it's 50 after the hour. We'll be back at 53. We'll put 3 minutes on the clock if you'd like to join us. If anything here on the list inspired you, we'll have some music playing while you're working. We'll get started in 3, 2, 1, and go. Whatever task you'd like to take on, a little upbeat music, keep us energized. Minute in with 2 minutes to go. We're halfway through, timer's ticking. Final 60 seconds, last minute everyone. Gentle reminder, 1 minute to go. Final 30 seconds. Go. 60 seconds. Our timer goes down. Here is that. Lapsing in the background. 3, 2, 1, and we are done. Welcome back from that 3-minute moment. Robin said dance break. Oh, yeah. So sometimes playing your favorite music, a favorite song, some other way of starting a timer, just getting a little something in. So thank you for joining us. We always love to hear your wins. So if there's anything you'd like to share about that little moment, if we weren't in a program, I would probably do 10 minutes. But 3 minutes, I think we can see what we got done. And Mary Jo's been very busy with the email. Congratulations. We'll give you a trophy on that one. Way to go. Excellent. Good use of your time. Well, thank you so much for sharing and playing along. Sometimes we do more, sometimes we do less. Today was just one little jazzy time. Here's number 9 on our list, and this is all about borrowing. Borrowing. So borrow from your own home. Shop at home first. See what you have in stock before going to buy something else. I often surprise myself about I already own it or I own something similar, something I could use. Of course, we love our libraries. We love our Chelmsford Library for making this possible. Their partner libraries for making this possible. You can borrow so many things from the library. There's digital magazines and audiobooks and so much. We talked about different classes with some of the home stores, even rentals or borrowing. You can borrow tools. You can borrow, different things that you might need to complete a project. Then you don't have to go and buy one. Growing up on our street, there were like four Cape Cod houses, and all four families got together and like one had the snow blower, one had the, lawn trimmer, like the tree, and then they would just share because no one was really ever doing all of that at the same time. Um, Jane hit the jackpot. $100 gift certificate. We love that. And we'll be talking about what's coming up, so stay tuned. Craft stores often do a lot of free classes as well. Sometimes you have to pay for the materials. Other times you don't. It just depends what they have. Grocery stores sometimes have different food classes and sorts of things. So all different ideas. Auto stores, they'll let you like bring back motor oil for free. You can borrow a tool. We had to take the headlight out the other day. It needed a special tool. We could have bought it and used it once and then lost it or had to store it, but we could just borrow it. We didn't have to buy it or rent it. They just let us borrow it. Freecycle.org or other buy nothing groups, those are also super popular. And it's where you just, it's not even a borrow, it's a, you get it, right? You just ask what if someone has it and then they go ahead and let you have it. And it's, just such a wonderful way of saving money, being kind to the planet, swapping. Maybe you're in a book group or some other organization and you sort of do a swapping situation. Liz says movies from the library at the library card. Yes, even museum passes and things. I mean, there's just so much happening. So asking friends and family, like we have a party coming up. I'm asking people if we can borrow their card tables and then I just have to get it back to them, but we don't have to buy or rent tables. So many different ways, maybe a little extra effort, but if we plan in advance, it's the night before and then we just have to go buy it because there's really no other option. As we round out our time together, number 10 on our list is shopping. And I noticed that, I've have over time had a lot of different interests and different hobbies, bought all the supplies, and then didn't always follow through on the hobby. So I shopped at home, found my hobby things, and then just started them up again. And I've been really inspired by some of the things that I was holding on to that, glue doesn't last forever, paint doesn't last forever. Coupons, of course, if you are someone that uses a coupon, remembering to take them with you or to have them at checkout. And then check out the credit card benefits. If you do have or use a credit card, one thing that I didn't know is on my credit cards page and also on my bank's page, like where I have a checking or savings account, they have special offers every month that change. I would never think to look there. I just saw it by accident, and then I asked customer service, and like, oh yeah, every month. And they're different percentages off of places or a free meal sometimes. It's really incredible what's there, but I mean, you have to cut through all the clutter to be able to find it. And then once we find it, we have to remember it, which is why we made the notebook at the beginning. And then this was mentioned earlier, and I said we'd be coming back to it, buying in bulk and then dividing the order. So we sort of rotate for like the basic pantry items. And so there's usually 4 weekends in the month. One sister takes a weekend. They do that shopping. Oh, if you have to go, we hope we'll see you next month. It'll be the second Thursday of the month. And then we just divide it. And then everyone gets what they need, but they're only paying like a quarter of the price, but it's less because it was purchased in bulk. So something like that might work possibly. So there you go. We've got some other crafters here in the room. So yes, and again, if you have like a Walmart Plus account, they offer free Peacock, which is that streaming channel. So, but if you don't know, if you don't ask, if you don't remember, if you don't write it down, it's like, how am I going to remember all these things? So you just have a great system for that. And so many of you are sharing your wonderful systems with that. So thank you for that. One thing that I did a few years ago, just in an effort to save more money, and I just wrapped a little note around the credit card that I used when I was in store. And it just says like, do I need this? That's where I left it. I just went, do I need this? You could write whatever question. You could write all 5 questions, but do I need this? And more often than not, I found myself getting out my credit card. It says, do I need this? And I'm like, you know what? I actually don't. And then just giving it back or putting it back on the shelf. So Another good one for me is where will I put this? Because if I'm just like in an impulse purchase of something cute and I don't know where I'm going to put it when I get it home, I don't want to dust it for the rest of my life. And then how will I get rid of it? Sure, it might sound great to buy like a stair climber machine, but then what am I going to do with that? Like, how do I get it out of my house? So those are some questions that I like to ask. Those are five that I sort of ponder, and more often than not, don't end up making the purchase, or at least not until I've really thought it through. And then just in terms of being more organized with a couple of things, um, yeah, delete the credit cards that are stored on shopping websites. Just helpful in terms of making sure that your information is not compromised. But also, if I have to get up to go get the credit card, and I'm guessing someone's going to say, Jamie, I memorized the number. That's a whole other challenge. And by the way, I'm impressed. But also, if I have to get up to go get the credit card to enter the information, I will have rethought that purchase. But if I can just hit checkout, it's probably too easy for me. So I deleted the stored credit card information on websites. Also just a good thing in terms of, security. Now, paper towel tubes, if you very carefully cut them lengthwise, so a cardboard paper towel tube, cut it lengthwise carefully, it will snap around a roll of gift wrap and prevent it from unraveling. So you won't waste gift wrap that got all like wrinkly. As long as you promise me you'll do it carefully. If your scissors are dull or your nail clippers are dull, clip or cut a piece of aluminum foil and that will sharpen them. But again, carefully. And if anyone has benefits with like your health benefits, your FSA, if you belong to organizations like AAA or AARP or employee benefits, ask about all the benefits. Like, what am I missing? What do I use up? And I used to think like health benefits when they're like, you're going to run out of the money in that health account. Things like sunscreen and lotion and lip gloss or chapstick are often included. So that would be really helpful as well. So just remember, a lot of this, right, is remembering, leaving ourselves notes, leaving ourselves reminders, leaving ourselves clues. And this is something you could do tonight if you do have a printer at home and you're trying to save a little printer ink, because printer ink is not cheap. You can change your printer setting to use less ink. So under your printer, under preferences, usually it'll say quality, and I just choose draft. When I print something on draft and when I print something on regular, I can't tell the difference. So unless I'm printing a photograph and then I want like a really crisp look, otherwise it's just economy, and that's been really helpful. And I do notice a huge difference in the amount of ink that I'm using or actually not using. So we love that. Yes, eco print would probably be another way of saying that. So just find it. Yep, perfect. Love that. So many of you have different ideas. It's fantastic. So to recap, these were our 10 different categories. And my hope is you found one or two things in the time together where you're like, yes, this sounds great. Apps, we love all these different ideas, like Harvard Pilgrim offers a reimbursement for gym memberships. Yes, my insurance does that as well. But how would you know if we're not like asking or talking? Yes, grayscale is another one. Thank you for that on the printer. Oh my gosh, you all are so great in the chat. So many wonderful conversations happening. I'm wondering what you're going to do next. It's not about doing all these things. It's about picking one and following through. And that's really what we're looking for. The follow through on one or two is going to make a bigger difference than trying to do a little bit of everything. So please do share your favorite idea in the chat, whether it was mine or you've got another one to share. Pop it in the chat. We'd love that. Today is August 13th and we're together. We'll be back together on September 10th. We'll be preparing for the unexpected. And then we've got a few more presentations in 2026. And then breaking news, just confirmed today, we've been invited back for 2027. We'll be meeting the first Thursday of the month in 2027. So I see all your lovely comments in the chat, and I'm going to read through to see all of your great ideas as well. I'm celebrating your wins. Gosh, everyone had a great little, burst there. And let's see. Okay, so I did promise you that I would answer the oil question. And so as we're closing out our time together, we do want to thank the library. And in case you want to register for our next presentation, we can go ahead and get that link in the chat for you. So if you are, if you're not currently registered, because you do register for each one individually, and then I do 6 months on the oil, whether it's marinara or oil and the herbs. So if you're asking for the link to register for September, I'm going to pop that in the chat. So you can follow that link there should you wish to. And I know all of us are signing off for our August. We'll be back together in September. So if you'd like to visit Jamie Novak for more information, the podcast, anything else, you can do that. So glad you were here. And it looks like everyone's coming back. And I'm reading all of your awesome ideas. Yes, you do need to register for each presentation individually. So, yeah, we will be doing that. That's individually, but the link is in the chat. There is a request for the cleaning slide. So we're just scrolling back through to see if we can find that for you. Probably went too fast and missed it. Sorry, I don't want to make anyone dizzy. All right, we are looking for the cleaning slide. Hang on. Everyone's feeling inspired. That was certainly my goal. So I hope that that has translated for you. And let's see, this might be the slide that was requested. Have a great evening. I know so many of you are tuning off to go and do your thing. So go set that timer. And then when you come back in September, you can tell us everything you've been busy doing and all the wins that you've had. There was one more question in the chat about Capital One, and I don't know if I know the answer. Oh, someone else answered it for you. Thank you so much, because I didn't know um, the answer to that. So great. All right. Well, I think this concludes our time together. We thank the library. I thank you for being here. We are going to say so long for now. Please do use the link in the chat if you'd like to register for September. You can go to the library's website. You can go to my website or use that link there. You're very welcome. Congratulations, everyone. Thanks for spending an hour with us. Cannot wait to do it again. We'll be back together on September 10th, and we look forward to seeing you then. Be well, happy decluttering. Let's go save some money.